Hey everybody, welcome to Tyson's Paradise, and today we will be reviewing Saw 2. So tune in for that, because that's going down here in a few minutes. Alright, so the film we'll be talking about right now, Saw 2. It's a 2005 American horror film. It is a sequel to Saw. A little fun fact about this film is it was written and directed by Darren Lynn Bousman. So the original creator did not write the screenplay for this film. However, he would be involved in the rewrites for the film. So he did have some input in it, just not majorly, because him and James Wan were busy during this time on another project. It's a sequel to Saw 2, and it doesn't even another fun fact, it actually does not pick up directly after Saw. So some time has passed from Saw 1 to Saw 2. I'm not quite sure exactly how much time in the timeline has passed, but you will not pick up the story where the first one left off. These are new characters with few returning characters. You got this cast, and the main people I'm gonna throw out here names are Donnie Wahlberg, which he'll play Detective Matthews, Tobin Bell, which he'll play Jigsaw, of course, and then Shawnee Smith, she reprises her role as Amanda. And then you have Daniel Matthews, which is played by Eric. Let's see how you say it. Knudsen? Yeah. Eric Knudsen plays Daniel, which is the son to Detective Matthews. And then you have, Carrie, the detective from the first one, reprising her role. But let's jump into this and let's get to the nitty gritty here. The film opens up with a trap, and which is famous for. The movies get progressively gorier as we move along here, and but the trap it opens up with, there's this guy. He's in his boxers or underwear, and he's panicking. He wakes up in this room, and there's this device around his head, and it's like a trap kind of thing. It opens and closes kind of thing, but it's open and it's around his neck, and there's spikes like in front of him, and then there's spikes in the back of him. So the idea of this trap is, I guess, when the timer goes away, it'll close and the spikes will just come into your face and then come into the back of your head, and it'll close on you. But so he gets this message from Jigsaw, telling him the rules of the game, and let's just say the timer starts, and he gets told the key to release this trap is in his eye, and I believe it's his left eye. So now he realizes he has to basically, cut open his eye with some kind of razor blade just to get the key out. So he'd lose his eyesight basically in that eye. I mean, he already lost the keys in there, but he'd have to dig there and get it out just to release the trap and free himself. And a famous line was introduced there. One of my favorite lines in the franchise. It was, "How much blood are you willing to shed to stay alive?" And and then he laughs, And it's just like, that's a dick thing to do. It's like, come on, man. The key to your salvation, and then you're gonna ask the guy how much blood he's willing to shed to stay alive. Wow. So the dude's attempting to get the key, but he's too scared to get too close to his eye because he doesn't want to cause himself the pain. In the story, he fails the trap, and then it closes on him and he dies. And that's your opening trap for the movie, which gets you into the movie. And as it moves along, you learn some of the characters. Detective Matthews introduced, his son, his son is getting in trouble lately, and he has to come and bail him out. And so you discover in the movie, so it's revealed that Detective Matthew's son is getting in and out of trouble. And so you're introduced to that whole thing, and then you learn that the family's separated. So it's a custody thing between the father, the mother, which you never see the mother in the film. But, and so you can sense the family tension and dysfunction. And the son feels like the father doesn't pay attention to him, and the father works a lot. And so he wishes his father spent more time with him, more or less. So there's some personal themes there that people can relate to. And so they get in this heated argument. And the detective just basically tells his son, all right, you want to go back to your mother's? Well, then get your ass packed and go, because I don't want you here. But they say it in the heat of the moment. So later the detective feels bad about what he said, and feels bad about, talking to his son like that. Tries to reach him on the phone, gets a voicemail. Feels like crap for talking to him like that. And then his partner, or ex-partner in the movie, she's trying to get him into this jigsaw case. And he's not wanting it. And again, it's thrown in his face that he pays attention too much to his job. And not other things. But later on, you discover that Jigsaw is targeting the detective. And as they examine some of the things around the house, or the location that they're at, they look up and there's a message on the wall and it says, "Look closer, Detective Matthews." So at this point, Jigsaw is wanting Matthews to find him. So the detective eventually does locate, after analyzing the video, does locate Detective Matthews does locate Jigsaw after going over this tape numerous times. And so they find the location, they bring the SWAT team and all that stuff. And so they're all making their way to the building where Jigsaw's at. And as soon as they open the door and start walking up the steps, Jigsaw has what look to be some kind of wire traps, some trip wires. So these SWAT teams hit the trip wires, and it looks like it kind of breaks their legs or cripples them, and they all fall and collapse, and they're all screaming in agony and pain. And then the rest of the SWAT team that didn't go in there, and Detective Matthews, and they all storm the building, and they all make their way to Jigsaw, which Jigsaw is sitting down at a table, and you can see all his cancer stuff hooked up to him. He looks like a dying patient, which he is. So Detective Matthews gets in his face, after, they get close to him and they get to his face, and he's like, "Is this close enough for you?" And so then from there, it's revealed Jigsaw's basically telling him, "Hey man, you want to arrest me? Go ahead. But you might want to check that room out there, because you got a bigger problem to worry about." And so the detective, with this bewildered look on his face, he goes to the room. They're checking out this room. For a while, they don't suspect anything out of the ordinary. But then the detective takes off this blanket thing that's covering these computers. And the computers, they all reveal on the monitors that there's 8 people playing a Jigsaw game. And one of them is the detective's son. And it gets crazier. So Detective Matthews, he's livid. He knows it's his son, and he goes straight up to Jigsaw. "What the hell is that? What is that?" He's pissed, and I would be too. I mean, damn. But anyway, some more of the traps in the film. At one point, there's this guy who they find a key and they use it, and more or less, there's a gun on the other side of the door, and it fires through the peephole and shoots this dude and blows out his head and blows out his brain, and it just instantly kills him. And everyone just realized then and there that this is no joke. This is no joke, that this is for real. And then there's another trap later on, with a stack of needles. It's just a bunch of needles. And I hate needles, and that does not look like fun. And one of the guys, they just toss that Amanda girl who was in the first film. She's in the, she's one of the 8 people and these traps all over again. And he just throws her into this bed of needles. And you see all these needles just sticking in her skin and sticking out of her skin. And it's just, if you don't like needles, you might not like that. But she's digging through, to get the next tape, to get the antidote, whatever. So she gets through that trap. Then they move on to another one. And they find out that one of the people in the room with them, one of the 8 people, it was chosen by Jigsaw. They find out on a tape that he helped kidnap everybody and get them there for Jigsaw. So now they're all like, whoa, wait a minute, you're telling me you are the reason we're all here? And everyone just, they look like they want to kill him. And then he's just like, yeah, I did it, Threaten me all you want, but you might as well cut me with a knife if you're going to threaten me. And so anyways, so the tape reveals that there's 2 antidotes in this Infernus looking thing. It's like a little room kind of barrel looking thing. And they have to get inside the Infernus thing to get the antidotes. So the guy that set everyone up, they got them all there. He's the one that goes into the Infernus to get the antidotes. He grabs the first one, no problem. It's easy. He gets cocky and full of himself, and instead of giving that first antidote to somebody right away, then he goes immediately to pull on the second antidote, and it's tied to a chain, and the chain, when pulled, closes the Infernus door and locks it shut on him, and then the fire turns on. And he slowly burns to death while everyone tries to get him out, thus burning both antidotes and no one getting an antidote. because these antidotes are to cure everyone, because they got this toxic air they breathed in, and apparently the toxic air they breathed in is some kind of thing that'll break down their body tissue and make them bleed from every part of their body eventually. But anyways, so the antidotes are fucked. They're gone. And now the guy's dead too. So now it's just like, oh shit. Now what do we do? And as it goes on, all these people discover they're all convicts. And they were all sent to prison for basically drugs and stuff like that. And then they also learn at some point that the detective that sent them all to prison is the same detective that is Daniel's father. So now you have one detective who sent everyone in this game to jail, and that same detective is the father of one of the people that are playing with the rest of the people. Now everyone is putting pieces together, and they're like, you're the dude's son, and he locked us away, and it's like everyone has a reason to want to hurt the kid now, and everyone has a reason to want to kill him. And his son, the kid, he has no idea his father's been doing all this undermining shit, planting evidence to obtain convictions and stuff, and sending people to prison. He has no idea that's what his father's been doing. And it's just crazy. But as it goes on, it just goes freaking insane. And at some point, there's a tape that says, the key to everyone's salvation, there's numbers to a safe. Apparently there's a safe that'll secure everyone. That'll make sure everyone will live. And there's a combination for that safe. And he says something along the lines like the combination's on the back of your mind or something, or in the back of your mind over the rainbow. And it's a clue, and nobody knows what that means. And then by the time you get closer to the end of the movie, it's just like, wow. What he meant was, he meant the combination to the safe. Each person has a number written on the back of their neck. So literally everyone's walking around with the combination code that can free them from this crap. But nobody knows they have the combination on the back of their neck. Nobody knows they have a number on the back of their neck. It's crazy. And I believe Jigsaw, I believe Saw 2, I believe it opened up on opening weekend to about, I want to say it opened to 31.9 million, which isn't too bad. That's not a bad opening weekend. And its overall domestic box office in the US and Canada was 88 million. So that's a good number. You know, these movies are low budgetly made. During the whole interrogation process between the detective and Jigsaw, you know, John Kramer, Jigsaw, he makes it clear that, you know, if you listen to my rules, you will find your son in a safe and secure place. And that quote is literal. Like, if you're watching this for the first time, you would have no idea. That quote is literal. And there's a clock that counts down, you know, till the game's over. And, so we're going through this movie, and the detective's listening to John's story. He's listening to Jigsaw and tell his story about cancer and how it changed his life and all this stuff. But at the same time, he's trying to keep his composure because he's pissed because his son's dying. Or his son's locked away with all these people that hate him. And his emotions are everywhere. And Jigsaw at one point is just like, isn't it funny that you're willing to forgive all of your son's sins when his life is at stake? And the detective's just like, you know, no, that's not the case. I've always loved my son. That's never changed. And Jigsaw's just like, huh, well, it's changed now. And it's just like, wow. It's like, you know, what are we willing to do as a human race when a life is at stake? How do you react? You forgive everybody for everything, you know? It's crazy. But you discover that, you know, there's a clock and he has to stay there till the clock counts down the whole time, listen to Kramer and everything, follow the rules. And but as it goes on, he gets more and more agitated. Everything he sees, he just keeps on seeing his son scared and in trouble, and it just makes him act out of anger and impulse, and he's had enough at that point. He's had enough. So he puts the gun in his pocket, doom, goes straight up to fucking Jigsaw, starts beating the hell out of him, punching him, kicking him, stomping on him, busting his jaw, breaking his face, making him bleed, beating the hell out of him, telling him, "Where's my son? Where is he right now, mother?" And then boom, stomps on him some more. You know, he's beating the hell out of him until finally John Kramer says, all right, I'll take you to the house. You, nobody else. You know, he wants to take him there alone, obviously. So he agrees to these terms, and then they take an elevator, and they go to their way to the house in which everyone's supposed to be held at. And meanwhile, the SWATs, you know, found a lock on the house. So now they're traveling to the house too. Only what winds up happening in a huge plot twist is because they trace the video feed, and the video feed leads to a house where there's another video feed. So then they look at the screen and they see these buttons and it says play, pause, forward, whatever, and they press play to pause, and it pauses the screen and the video, which in turn reveals that at this point, the game was not live. It was all pre-recorded. It had already happened. They were watching a game that already took place earlier that day. And when they realized this, they're like, oh, shit. It's not live. And at this point, Eric is in the house, or at the house, pulled up with John Kramer. John gives him a key, you know, because he needs it to get in the house. And he's going in the house looking around for his son Daniel, which since it's been revealed it's all pre-recorded, now we flash back to the pre-recorded stuff, and it shows Daniel being chased by this guy that's, suffering from drug withdrawals, and he's chasing Amanda and Daniel, and then chases them into the original Saw bathroom where Adam and Gordon were. And you see flashbacks of the first movie and voice clips, and you see Adam's corpse chained up against the wall, and Daniel just freaking out, blood coming out of his mouth. And then you flash back to Eric, and he's going through the house looking for his son with the gun and the flashlight. And he's going through the house looking everywhere, and then it flashes back again. And the guy chases them into the bathroom, like I said. And then, boy, he's about to kill them, obviously. And this is the goriest part of the film. The guy takes a knife, because he needs a number. The number is off the back of everyone's neck to get the combination code. While Amanda tells him that how's he going to get his own number if she's not alive to tell him it. In turn, he goes to the mirror, realizes he can't use the mirror because it's all dirty and nasty and rusty looking and you can't see anything out of it. So he takes his knife, goes to the back of his neck, and slices off the back of his neck skin, and then puts it in his pocket. And then he goes to go after them. And then Daniel kicks him in the knee leg area, takes the knife, slices his throat, and you watch him bleed out right there. All the blood coming out of his throat, and probably the bloodiest part of the whole movie. And he just bleeds out, dies right there. And it's pretty crazy. And then it flashes back again to Eric. It flashes back again to Eric Matthews, and he finds the room. He walks into it, the bathroom area. Sees somebody in the bathtub. He thinks it's Daniel. You hear him say, "Daniel, Daniel," and he's checking over the, cautiously because he doesn't know what's on the other side. His emotions are high, and then boom! Out of nowhere, a pig's mask jumps up and stabs him with I'm guessing it's a sedative drug because it makes him pass out. And as he passes out, whoosh, the timer on the clock in the room goes out where Jigsaw was at. And if you remember earlier, like I said, he said that if Detective Matthews stayed, that he would find his son in a safe and secure place. Well, true to his word, the clock goes off, there's a safe in the room. And it opens, the huge-ass box safe. And when it opens, the detective's son is in the safe. The detective's son is in the safe, and he has a breathing oxygen tank with him, helping him breathe. So had the detective never left the room and stayed there until the clock counted down, he would have seen his son come out of that safe. His son was in the room with him the whole time. The entire time. But because his emotions got the best of him, and he acted off of impulse, he failed the game. So we flash back to Eric after he got stabbed, and it picks up with him in a dark room with a tape next to him. He hits play, and it's Amanda on the tape talking about, you sent me to prison once, but you wrongfully convicted me, but the second time I was sent, it was right because Jigsaw helped me. And, I deserved to jail the second time, but the first time you put me there for no reason. And he's just laying there, and now he's chained up. He finds that he's chained up just like Adam and Gordon was in the first one. And then in the tape, she's just talking about, what's the cure for cancer? What's the cure for death? The answer is immortality. When you create a legacy worth remembering, you become immortal. And it was just insane. And then it's just, whoo! She's just like, you lose. Game over. Boom! And she closes the door just like the first movie. And he's screaming, "You bitch! I will kill you. I will kill you. And you just hear Eric screaming all the way into the credits. And it shows Jigsaw in the van, presumably dying, just sitting parked outside the house. So with that, we are left to believe that Eric Matthews is now chained up and he will die in that room. We get the reveal that Adam's dead. He's a corpse. I guess Gordon's dead too. We never saw anything of him. But now, Detective Matthews has failed his test and he is locked away, helpless and alone. There's so much going on in this movie, it's just hard to cover every single detail. But it's crazy. It's crazy because that start of that movie just kicks off with they find Jigsaw, but then they wind up playing his game. And the game's pre-recorded the entire time. It's insane. There is a trap I forgot to mention, where at some point this druggy chick, she puts her hands through it, and it looks like it cuts her wrists and stuff, but it keeps her locked in place, so anytime she moves, her hands rub against the blades, and it slices her wrists even more. And she's just until she eventually just bleeds out, you know. And one chick, she dies just from her body breaking down. She winds up like foaming from the mouth and dying and stuff. And that's pretty insane. It's just a lot of insaneness. And if I had to go over the lessons for the movie, I mean, a lot of the points it seems to be just driving home is, for one, legacy. If you live a life, you know, really good, you know, if you're the best person you can possibly be, then you've lived a life worth remembering. And in which case, you become immortal. And what she means by that is, you will never die, obviously. Metaphorically, you will never die. Because people will always remember the life that you lived. The lives that you've touched in your life, the people that you knew, will always remember you. And then they'll share it on with the people they know. And they'll share it on with the people they know. And it'll be passed down, and you become immortal. So that is the cure for cancer, the cure for death. Immortality, a legacy worth remembering. I believe that is a powerful lesson they try to implore through the violence in the movie, but that is a lesson they implore. And if I had to just pick a solid, real, just another one, it's just appreciate your life. Appreciate it. Appreciate, if you have a kid, appreciate their life. If you have a girlfriend, wife, husband, daughter, appreciate their life. Appreciate your life too. Because you can appreciate your life and not appreciate theirs. Or you can appreciate their lives and not appreciate yours. Because those, like said in the movie, those who appreciate their life deserve life. Those who don't appreciate their life don't deserve life. That's the points it's trying to draw. Appreciation of life and a legacy worth remembering. Those are powerful. But this is it for the Saw 2 review. I did say I would talk about something that I didn't like about the film. You know, in the terms of rewatching it, I was just like, man, I still like this film a lot. But if I had to pick one thing that I didn't like, one thing, it's an actor. Like I said, it's, I believe her name, and forgive me if I mispronounce, it's Emmanuel, Voyager, I think, or Vagger, something like that. Anyways, she's the chick that gets caught in the trap that slices her wrists and stuff. It's just, I don't know. She came off annoying to me. Yeah, didn't like her. Didn't like her as a character and as an actress. She just came off annoying. So if I had to pick to take someone out of the movie, and the movie, I would just took her out, period, and the movie would have been fine. Nothing would have changed. The movie would have been fine. That's one thing I just didn't like. I think that about covers it. This is the Saw 2 review. We will do Saw 3 next. And I enjoyed that one too. We'll talk about a lot of stuff I enjoyed. Again, I love this franchise. There is another actress in that film I do not like, and I will cover that. I found her really annoying. And maybe she was designed that way, or maybe she just really is annoying. Could be both. But this is it for Saw 2. A little longer than the first one. But we will jump into Saw 3 next. And thank you for tuning in. This is Tyson's Paradise. And remember to appreciate your life. And on that note, I'll leave you with one final quote from Jigsaw. Oh yes, there will be blood.